the two land spots up for grabs at the end of this season, and you don't want to be missing out on that.
All right, well, let's bring up the map veto for the first match this evening. Clubhouse and Border will be the first two taken out, of course, and we are going to end up on Consulate. That's an interesting choice. I'm surprised a little bit that Homeless let that one through. What can we expect? Do we think that FNATIC are going to be in a really nice position here, or?
I do actually feel really in favor of FNATIC on this map. Consulate was not a great map for Homeless last week against Wildcard. It was the map that they really had it handed to them by Wildcard, and FNATIC have always shown they've been strong on Consulate historically, and also they managed to get a really strong win on Consulate as well. So I definitely think going into this first map, it's going to be all FNC.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you do bring up that dominant performance against Kanga, because that was on the back of them actually drawing out a map to one of the bottom seed teams from Challenger League. So I think that ability for them to bounce back, have that strong performance, will bode well for them here. As for Homeless, they played Wildcard and got stomped. If we go back a little bit further, they actually played FNATIC and lost to the same scoreline, 2-7. So not voting well for them so far in the veto.
Yeah.
Question is, will that translate to the match?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely a team that has brought out surprises before. And like I said, I think their work ethic for a team that has just recently been promoted and having their first season in Pro League as a team is it's quite impressive. And I think coming into this match, they would have been prepping so hard. They want to rise to this occasion. They want to make a statement, that's for sure. And yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to be able to pull something out of nowhere.
All right, well, Raven has faith. What do you guys think? Let's bring up the community poll for this first matchup, and 89% in favor of FNATIC. Not really too surprised at how that one went, because FNATIC is probably the most recognizable name in the ANZ region. Do you think it's really that one-sided though?
I think it's fair to say it is that one-sided, considering the performances FNATIC has put in. Besides that draw last week, every other map they've played has been pretty strong. The double strong maps against Sinister last night, and then the really strong map against Kanga last week. I think it's pretty fair to say they're in great form, and at face value against a team like Homeless, yeah, I think a lot of people would be predicting a FNATIC win.
And I guess that sort of raises the question for me, what does Homeless need to do to win this?
Yeah, that's a tough thing. I think pull out surprises. I think they've got to catch FNATIC off guard. FNATIC being a great team, you want to keep them on the back foot. You got to keep them guessing, trying to adapt, trying to counter. You don't want them to have the upper hand or be ahead of you, because I think for an inexperienced team, that can be a lot trickier to come back from.
Well, Consulate will be the first map, of course. Homeless with the first ban. That'll be a hard breacher off the board for them. We typically see a hard breach taken off on Consulate. It makes downstairs a little bit more tricky to attack, and Habana as well can use her pallets to get the hatches. FNATIC, what a surprise. They've taken Thatcher off the board, Raven. What
a surprise, an ANZ Thatcher ban. I can't say I remember the last time. I haven't seen a Thatcher ban in the attack phase, to be honest. And look, it makes such an impact. Thatcher is just such a good operator. Those EMPs making your clear of utility that so much quicker. So without that on the board, it means that there's a lot more thoroughness and a lot more coordination that is required. FNATIC will be starting on attack though, so they have done this to themselves, but they are no strangers to that at all. And of course, they were the ones that took it off the board, so they are clearly comfortable with it.
Yeah, I get the impression that Magnet and the team have done a lot of practice, a lot of scrims, a lot of dry running with that Thatcher off the board, because if I'm not mistaken, they've basically banned him out every map so far, to the best of my knowledge. So look, they're confident. I think the fact that they have that coordination to sort of use their soft breach to their full potential will sort of nullify that ban in a sense, and will really punish teams that aren't as coordinated. So Homeless, I feel, will have to be very mindful of that, because I'm sure they're probably used to playing with Thatcher on the board on some occasions.
Oh, absolutely. And it's something that if you haven't practiced a lot of, it's not easy just to pick up on the fly. Attack is already tricky to coordinate, even as a solid team. Just coordinating some of the finer details in attack, it takes a lot of practice, and to chuck in the variable of not being able to use the Thatcher means there's extra thoroughness of droning. You have to clear potentially an extra floor because you might have to play vertically. Yeah, so much of that is just not easy to pick up on the go. So yeah, if a team like FNATIC has practiced it a lot, maybe Homeless haven't, maybe they have, but if they haven't, it's going to be a big challenge for them.
I'm a fan of the fact that FNATIC have brought the Nomad here. That'll be Magnet playing that operator. Of course, it is the pilot program skin, so he's probably rocking that, but more importantly for this match, Homeless are one team that are really, really aggressive, and I feel like trying to shut down as many of their rotates and runouts as possible will make things tricky for them. So a smart decision, I think, for FNATIC, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Will Homeless still try and play them aggressive selves, or will they play a little bit more passive?
I think it's really important for them to... They're going to have to try and settle into a balance. FNATIC are clearly ready for that extra aggression that Homeless are a little bit known for. And if they try to pull it out too soon or ill-advised, it's definitely going to be not working in their favor. So they're going to have to pepper it in here and there. And if they can play a little bit passive and then pull out some aggression later, that could really be what is required to catch FNATIC off guard. Maybe something that FNATIC isn't ready for and not easy to deal with. But you know what is easy to deal with is that Yellow Stairs player, Arlo, smoke off the board nice and early there, and that will give FNATIC a really clear chance to push up Yellow and take some pretty needed map control.
I can vividly remember FNATIC having some troubles clearing out those Yellow Stairs, but it seems like they haven't improved upon that. Did use a lot of utility, but they got the kill in the end, so control will be forfeited by Homeless. Stiggs is playing aggressive at the front desk here. Could get a pick on CEO, but gets absolutely deleted. Lusty winning that frag. A great kill from him, and Homeless now well and truly on the back foot, Raven. Lusty gets a double, and it's already falling apart.
It is. It's a 5 versus 2 already, and we've only seen just over a minute tick away, leaving only Strider and Hayward to try and clutch the round out for Homeless. And they're already pushed right out of that CEO section. Strider, the only connection there in connector. And basically, if they are able to clear out Strider, they will be able to repel into CEO or push through Yellow and get that plant down. Hayward does see the player repel into private. Doesn't quite get him. As Strider is down, leaving it all up to Hayward. He's going to have to revive or clutch it out himself.
Hayward trying to hold the long desk. It's going to be such a challenge. 5 members of FNATIC know exactly where he's positioned, and they're just going to hold the cross peak. Lusty goes for the plant. The peak comes out. Hayward tentatively throws the C4. Still gets the kill. Gets the second onto Virtue. Now it's looking a little bit more likely, but those repels will make it so challenging. They can just sit out there, similarly to Bank really, and just wait for the counter defuse to go down if they wish. Ping goes out and one of the players actually inside the building as the wall gets open. That'll actually count his demise. That's Lusty off the board. Hayward's triple, but these two repels will be absolutely deadly, and Hayward doesn't have the HP really to take it on. He's going to go for the counter defuse, but Mentalist will swing in as Magnet peaks wide, and FNATIC will take round number 1.
A really strong start from FNATIC. A bit of a statement there, saying that they have done their prep, they're really confident in what they're doing, and Homeless better be ready. And look, Hayward looked a little bit ready. That was a great little clutch attempt there, really bringing it down to the 1 versus 2, but just positioning was way too good in the post plant for FNATIC, and they locked out that round pretty comfortably, you could say.
Ooh. I can't believe he didn't get that.
Wow.
Kill. He just missed it, I think.
Must have hit the shoulder.
But yeah, as we saw in that first replay there, almost with 2 minutes 20 to go, FNATIC had really set themselves up really nicely. They cleared out Yellow Stairs with perfect utility usage. That left Homeless not only at the man disadvantage, but FNATIC capitalized on that ground that was forfeited by Homeless, and from there they just fell apart. And the droning as well, I want to note, was really good. It was a 5v2. They didn't rush for the plant. They took their time. They saw that they had plenty to work with. Both players were droned out. Neither of them moved. And FNATIC, despite it being a little bit dicey there at the end, were able to clear them out.
Yep, it was really well disciplined, executed gameplay from FNATIC, and spelling danger for Homeless nice and early here. But they will change bomb site now. Teller's Archives, the split bomb site. An interesting second choice. Commonly the second choice, but you know what? Consulate does have that nice balance of bomb sites. Really 4 viable bomb sites that we see a lot of teams have their own little set that they prefer to play. And it'll be interesting to see what Homeless do pull out here to try and throw FNATIC off in this second round.
Not too sure if Homeless are brave or stupid here. We know that FNATIC love to defend this side, so you'd hope that they have some pretty good attacks to sort of counter that. It's going to be interesting, I think, to see how Homeless try and adopt their defense. It looks like they will try and hold over towards Garage, at least try and stop FNATIC from pushing that easily. A lot of vertical play as well. Of course, they have shotguns to make holes. They have Pulse, who probably play below too. So FNATIC will have to try and clear out those members depending on which site they go for, and it might be a Garage rush.
Definitely looking like they're going to push from this west side across through the garage. They probably want to clear out this roam. Mind you, once they go through this droning phase, they might decide that it's not worth committing to, but I say that, and Virtue is pushed very confidently into the garage already, clears out that default, and they're just carefully checking where these positions are and how they can surround it. FNATIC positioned very much around this side of the map. Magnet there looking like he's around the lobby section, looking to enter through, but he may face some resistance from Dino over on the lower spiral stairs.
Homeless not really giving any picks out, playing quite passive, which is good to see. We saw them give away that man advantage really early in the last round, but this time they're quite content in just holding their positions and trying to not let FNATIC advance too far. Magnet, he's getting control now over towards Piano. Probably air jab off yellow stairs, and he will. That's going to make a rotate for Homeless really tricky. There is a player playing the top spiral here. Magnet could be in engagement very quickly here. He tries to pre-fire the angle. The shield will protect Dino, who is on his drone, I believe. Air jab will cut him off, and FNATIC, they are gaining ground slowly, but it is slowly.
It is, and it's just a wonder whether they're still trying and take this bottom floor section from the garage, or whether they're just cutting the rotates up and they're going to just choke it in the actual tellers section. But half the round ticked off now. Still aren't any real engagements, no damage been taken by either team. May come down to a bit of a late execute here, depending what FNATIC decide to do in this next 30 seconds.
FNATIC still droning out. They love to find that intel and act upon it. Virtue doesn't, I believe, was that a player below him? Might have been all the way through the floor, so the concrete will protect that defender. He's holding a really long angle there towards the B-bomb site below. There is actually a player there, but out of Virtue's line of sight. It could be in his line of sight now as he pre-fires the angle. Must be going off some drone intel. Either way, he doesn't get the kill. Homeless still with 5 members alive, and it could start to pop off here really soon.
Yeah, and they're very careful of that flank. They did hear that air jab, and that player has actually retreated up the yellow stairs. So that is a flank that maybe they're not expecting would have been possible. He might be able to get the jump onto Tex. Tex is pushing down the spiral stairs. Lusty is actually getting the plant down. He's going to cancel that off, potentially knowing that there's intel below. He will be safe on those silver lockers, though. And Homeless are going to have to try and deny this.
Oh, Hayward from above. The angle will get the kill. The flank watch doesn't suffice, and now it's 20 seconds on the board for FNATIC to try and reattempt the plant. Tex did get one, so that'll be Dino off the board, so no Echo drones will be left to deny the plant, but could give intel. Magnet gets Strider, so Homeless need to try and hold stead. Hayward gets one back though, as Mentalist will reattempt the plant. Homeless need to try and deny it. Stiggs gets one, Arlo as well, but Virtue will come up clutch, but it's not enough. They don't have time, and he gets taken off the board. Anyway, Homeless with a fantastic second round. They're taking FNATIC to the bomb site, where I questioned, was it bravery, was it stupidity? But it looks like it was pretty smart actually in the end.
I think all of it was on the back of Hayward being able to get up yellow stairs, which is super unfortunate for FNATIC. They cut that rotate with the air jab. They heard the air jab go off. I guess Magnet potentially not thinking that the player would have continued to push up the yellow stairs, maybe thinking he retreated. And Hayward, the player that did that, was the one that really opened it up for Homeless, getting, I think it was a 3K in the end on that round, maybe even the quad, but regardless, he really opened it up and made it difficult for FNATIC to secure the plant in the end. Homeless will even it up at 1-1 now as we see them move to the cafeteria garage bomb site.
That last round, FNATIC did gain some decent ground, but it wasn't really meaningful ground, and they may have had the intel as to where those defenders were late round, but they really struggled to act upon it, and I guess that is sort of one of the tricky parts, really, of pushing that side, is the choke points can be quite challenging if you haven't flushed out the angles from above, for example, in FNATIC. They really weren't able to do that. So, well played by Homeless. Garage will be their 3rd attempted bomb site. They're not going to reattempt upstairs after they stuffed it up a little bit on the first occasion. So I think it's good that they're playing it to their strengths and not really falling into the trap of over-attempting a site.
Yeah, I think especially considering the dominance that FNATIC had in that attack on the top floor, I think it's just good that Homeless give it a bit of space between attempting it again. If they win this one, they may just go for it, but either way, it just allows FNATIC not to continue to go from comfort to comfort, just changing things up, keeping it a little bit unpredictable. And I think you alluded to it, I really like the adaptation of them playing a bit more passive in that first half of the round, not allowing that opening pick to occur for FNATIC and giving them that momentum.
Brave from Stiggs, it looks like he may try and attempt to bandit trick the wall. He has a Goyo to protect him, but if that gets shot from above and he's unaware, they could spell his death. I am interested to see how Homeless will play into those Goyo shields. There are a couple of ways you can play it. Try and deny the plant, try and deny rushes, but also you can try and use them as vault spots, forced vaults, which makes it really challenging. If you vault a shield and try and peek an angle, that can be tough. So Homeless might try and do that. It looks like the wall denial has already been taken out, so Lusty with 2 minutes to go will be able to get the wall. Fortunately, Stiggs was able to fall back, so no man lost for Homeless.
Yeah, very swift and thorough there from FNATIC to get that vertical control. They really covered the run out so that they were able to rappel upside down those piano windows and buck it out and clear it with that grenade. So well played from FNATIC. They've given themselves a lot of time now to start setting up for this execute with that wall open. And Homeless are going to have to now just be very careful not to give away too much to FNATIC, not to give them any opportunity to get some momentum.
FNATIC doing a lot of droning at the moment as Strider will get concussed on the stairs, mindful that he could get shot from above as well. We've seen FNATIC gain a lot of intel throughout this map. On the second round, they weren't really able to act upon it. As Stiggs makes some nice bullet holes over towards yellow, I believe. Dino, though, he's all the way on top floor, Raven. This could be a big play late in the round.
Could be, and there's a player repelled on that window. I'm not sure if they're actually aware of that player, and Dino could be able to get the jump. Oh, the pre-fire coming out does take some damage off of Mentalist. He's taken quite low as Dino loses a bit of health as well. Did see Tex taken off the board outside of this Spectator. Magnet finds one to even it out as 4 versus 4, and this little duel upstairs is not going to continue as Mentalist decides to back away from that.
Mentalist probably figuring that his utility can be more useful elsewhere. Magnet, he's using his utility to open some angles from above. Those breaching charges make a nice hole in towards Cafeteria. He's going to try and pre-fire in towards the CCTV room. Doesn't get a pick. There is a player in there, but he can't quite see him from his angle. FNATIC, once again, their time management, it's looking a little bit dicey here. 30 seconds to go. Mentalist will shoot out those smokes, and FNATIC should be rushing in now. Lusty's attempting to plant. Strider, though, gets his double with the C4. That's Mentalist, who was low, taken off the board, but the plant's still going down. He's unable to deny it, as Virtue from the garage will cover, and it's now a 3-on-3 post-plant. Stiggs with full HP, but not really much he can do, as FNATIC will just fall outside now, and this round has really slipped away from Homeless.
Yeah, not an easy spot to retake. Lusty maybe pushing a little too deep though. Virtue has found one as Lusty's down, so it's a 2 versus 1 essentially, as it's all up to Stiggs. He secures that kill, but the others are playing very passively outside here above the stairs. Stiggs gonna have to push deep, but not have a chance to get that, as another round goes to FNATIC. A bit unfortunate for Homeless there not to deny that plan. There was a great C4 that came out on the yellow stairs. One of those toxic babes really reaching the front of the white van.
Homeless once again playing passive like they did in round number 2, and it almost worked out for them. FNATIC had so little time to play with, and that's one site where it can be delayed with the smoke grenades, as you mentioned, or the C4s flying out, but unfortunately Homeless just didn't quite have that on the board, and that white van offered the perfect protection for FNATIC to get that plant down. And then, sort of as I alluded to, that is one of the hardest sites to retake. As we saw, FNATIC just sat all the way outside. They know that it's that 7-second counter diffuser, and there's nothing you can do. Even if you get one pick, you're going to get retraded. So once the plant goes down and they escape, it's basically round over.
Absolutely, and we talked about whether Homeless would reattempt that top floor, considering how much they were really dominated on it. And here they are. They are going to give it another crack. Stiggs is going to be onto the Mozzie, playing a bit more intel denial, and they're pairing it with the Mute, which is a really common pairing that we're starting to see on defenses globally, essentially, as it's just so strong for denying intel, stealing intel as well with the Mozzie, and without the Thatcher on the board, it is not easy to clear. You have to drone that out and physically push and try and clear it in some way, or use other utility like an impact charge or a frag grenade.
I guess that's sort of a question I was just thinking about then. Do you feel like on this bomb site, Homeless should be bringing more devices and operators that sort of facilitate that counter game to the soft breach? Because FNATIC are using a lot of that utility to clear the yellow stairs. I mean, we saw them almost depleted entirely to get the kill on round number 1. Do you feel like maybe more shields could be used? They've got it's the Maestro on the board too. I think Homeless, they're sort of having that mindset to do it, but they're playing denial not quite there maybe?
Yeah, I think what really happened last time was just through that really quick clear on the yellow stairs from FNATIC, it's just too much of a foothold to take really early, and by pushing everybody out of CEO, there's nothing to really slow it down at that stage. They even had really good control of Piano, which means that even a C4 below wouldn't have been possible. And I think it's really common that teams will just burn a lot of utility to clear that yellow position, considering how good it is. If that player is not there in the yellow stairs, you have next to free reign on that complete west side of the building.
Well, Arlo is playing there. Once again, a FNATIC are set up to try and take him off the board. We saw Tex there on the bathroom window as Virtue is over towards the yellow window. No real action yet as they try and drone it out, just make sure there's actually a player there. Good denial there from the Mozzie gadget, as Stiggs will get that drone to fly away, give his team some nice intel, and maybe FNATIC aren't going for the yellow stairs take just yet.
Definitely looking like that's what they want to do, but the fact that they haven't been able to clear Arlo out as quick as last time has stalled them out a bit here. They're trying to be a little bit more careful, but they've got so many operators that are built to deal with this. Mentalist can use his asphyxiating bolts to relative ease to cut Arlo off, and these other players are ready to sweep if he's out of position.
Arlo still on 100 HP. There's multiple members watching his rotate. If he moves, he's likely dead, but if he holds that position, Homeless could well take the round. The flashes start to come out as Arlo will use the first of his gas grenades. That'll deny the bathroom window, and he actually gets out. That's a great play from Arlo, massive for this round, and if FNATIC don't clear him out of bathroom, they could find themselves in a whole world of hurt.
A really nice time repel in on Yellow Stairs though, so now Yellow Stairs has actually been taken, even though they didn't clear it 100% by killing Arlo. They're still really gunning for his head. Stiggs has pushed aggressively onto Yellow though, taken some shots onto the Yellow player, which I believe is Virtue, now downed. They're going to have to try and deal with that as Arlo gets down from below. Nice clear from Tex, but no secures yet.
Lots of secures one though onto Stiggs, so it is a 5-on-4. Homeless once again at the man disadvantage in this round. It is effectively a 4 versus 3 as a member from each team has been downed. Virtue could be potentially picked up depending on how aggressive Homeless want to play, but it looks like they are just holding angles in the meantime. Magnet, he's on Nomad, he's going to rotate his Virtue. He gets teased with the pickup, but it looks like Tex will eventually stick it. Arlo still downed in the bathroom, and FNATIC should now have control of Yellow. Strider's probably in the best position to deny that as Dino's watching Spiral Stairs, and Hayward was off towards the other side. Strider's finding himself now pinched like he did in the previous round. He needs to try and just hold that window, repel him. He's going to get aggressive. How has FNATIC not seen him push in? This could be a big play as Tex gets Arlo, but no, he will finally be taken down. Hayward and Dino now left with it all to do, but Dino gets 2. A nice double from him as Hayward gets 1 as well, and it's a 2-on-2. FNATIC have thrown this round, and Dino gets 4! There's no way he was meant to do that. The shield coming up clutch there for Homeless, and they get a round that wasn't meant to be theirs.
Dino just chomps through FNATIC. No chance of getting that plant down. He's killed both the window repel players and both the players pushing through from the Yellow Stairs bathroom area. What a play from him as Hayward also supported him with that little frag fest there and really saved that round. It was a 5 versus 2 there at the end, guys, and what a fantastic clutch from them to bring it to 2-2. FNATIC are going to be spewing after that round.
Maybe I cursed on that round because I was mentioning how important that soft breach is to clear that utility later in the round. Maybe they didn't have the nades. Virtue might not have had the nades. I know Tex didn't have the impacts because he used them in bathroom. They didn't have enough utility to clear that shield, and that just allowed Hayward to play off it and get as much intel as he wanted for free. Got a couple of nice picks, and the round was over.
Yeah, even though Arlo was the down player in the bathroom, just the time that it took to actually flush him out and secure that was the biggest difference between the first attack that FNATIC had on that round, on that bomb site. And yeah, just off the back of some great gunplay, Homeless managed to change their stars there. And now they don't really have to worry about that bomb site. They are going to rotate off, of course, because it will be locked for another 2 rounds after this. And look, they've got a bit of momentum now. They're really putting a fight to FNATIC, it's fair to say. And some of the rounds they've lost besides that first one, or the other round they lost besides the first one, actually was pretty close.
That round has definitely spiced up this matchup, and maybe part of that round was also the fact that FNATIC's communication might have broken down a little bit. Magnet alluded to that last night, that maybe they drew that map because their communication wasn't quite there and they had some personal issues within the team. Maybe they lost that clutch because they didn't quite have the intel on how to clear that player out effectively. And look, it cost them. Scores now even. FNATIC, of course, are on the attack. Probably not the worst position to be in, but losing a round like that has to be a little bit frustrating.
Oh, they're definitely going to be frustrated about that, but I think it's super important that they're able to just move past it, have a positive mindset, and just not worry about it too much. Homeless attempting lobby here might throw them off a little bit because it's not something that Homeless have actually chosen yet. It's another site that FNATIC are now just experiencing for the first time in terms of how Homeless are going to hold it. And it's not an easy one to get the map control. You are going to have to take it vertically, which it looks like we're starting to see some contest there on the balcony in towards meeting. But you do have to get that vertical control, which isn't necessarily easy. It's very similar to pushing that top floor. So if Homeless can stall them out again without losing that first pick, I think they're definitely going to give themselves a good chance to get the round.
Upstairs control is being held by Stiggs, Dino, and Hayward, trying to stop those FNATIC members from gaining that control, as you mentioned, and then making some nice lines of sight down below. Magnet's on the Nomad, he'll probably be tasked with doing that as well. Virtue actually, interestingly enough, playing below, so maybe he'll try and clear up from below as opposed to above.
Yeah, if they can get some intel on Arlo, he might even try and go for a nade as opposed to bucking it out. And well, speaking of intel, Mentalist has gotten the opening pick onto Dino. Homeless doing a bit of a rotate here, looking to flank around as a double. It's Stiggs and Strider there, but FNATIC look like they've got some nice drones set up on these flanks, so it's a matter of whether they're being watched. As Magnet gets another one. Not looking too good for Homeless here, losing 2 players in the first half of the round. Right, taking a strong man advantage moving forward.
The flank from Homeless will need to be massive to bring this round back, as it looks like FNATIC are gaining control of the side. Hayward, though, he'll go off once again. That's Mentalist off the ball. That's 5 straight for him. Virtue from below could get Stiggs, and he does. That'll be the Mozzie off the board, and now Homeless are in a 2-on-4 scenario. Strider needs to go big. Hayward needs to go big once again if they want to win this round. Lusty's going to attempt the plant. Hayward is above, but can't deny it. He doesn't have the lines of sight as Strider tries to push in towards Piano. The diffuser is now down. There's a player down. Pro, he actually gets the kill there on Detects. A nice shot from him, but he has been lowered to health. And once again, a very hard bomb to hold. They can sit outside towards the main door. FNATIC should definitely secure this round. Hayward, he's going to have to do something absolutely crazy on the run out here. He gets one in towards Bathroom. He's going to try and attempt the counter diffuser, but Strider needs to protect him. Virtue gets the nade. They're onto Hayward. Well played by him, and it's a 2-on-1. Strider's low. The nade will take him out as well, and FNATIC will come back with vengeance.
Yeah, and again, the retake actually wasn't too bad of an attempt from Homeless. It's definitely, like you said, not easy to retake that bomb site once it's down in towards that lobby area. But came a little bit close for comfort for FNATIC. They did manage to get the round though, so now they will be on 3, and it's the last round for the half now for Homeless to try and even it out.
I was a little bit upset that flank didn't work out for Homeless. I think the round by that stage was probably over. Even if they got that kill onto Virtue, it would have taken a big effort for them to actually get their way all the way towards the site and deny it. But, you know, double roam, it's always fun to see.
Yeah, and I think they definitely just weren't expecting Virtue to still be in that position. He hadn't ever really made his position known downstairs. He never really felt the need to buck out any of the middle floor, so they just had no chance of knowing that. So unfortunate for Homeless, but yeah, let's see if they can get this defense now. They're going to Archives Tellers, which they did a great job on last time. FNATIC ended up kind of walking into that trap, really trying to plan in Tellers. Have to see what adaptations FNATIC make now to try and get this round.
On the previous attempt, FNATIC took a long time to gain meaningful control of the map. Once they did, it left them with little chance to re-attempt the plant. So I'm sure on this occasion, Magnet and the team, they're going to be trying to gain control over towards Garage a lot faster if that's the play they're going to go for, or bulk potentially to flush out the players inside of A. Either way, FNATIC need to be a little bit more efficient. And I guess maybe this is a fault of some of these top teams against the lower teams. I mean, Wildcard, for example, we saw them last night. Yes, they're a team that traditionally do take a long time to set up and have really good groundwork, but on multiple occasions, it just didn't work, and it cost them the round. So hopefully FNATIC, for their sake, don't fall into that trap, because it can be costly.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that FNATIC have been guilty of in the past as well, but I think definitely with this roster lineup, it's definitely not been as much of an issue for them. They seem to be able to work through it a little bit quicker, and we're seeing it already, some very confident approaches to the building, which shows that there's probably been some great droning done in prep phase, good drone set up early. Say that though, and Virtue was taken out by Hayward. Hayward just going really strong again for his team. I pointed out in the pre-show that he went big last week in their draw. He was very instrumental in how well they performed, and so far he's been stepping it up again here on Consulate.
I think that's 7 straight now. Oh, no, he got killed in the last round, unfortunately, but I think he's got the opening pick in the last 2 rounds for his team, so that's a really good start for him. Saw him get the 4K a couple rounds back. That was pretty nice. He's continuing that form. Hopefully that confidence can really flow into his teammates. Sometimes if you have one player going strong, the rest will play confidently as well. Stiggs tries to peek yellow stairs. He finds himself under the pump a little bit, but he has Hayward to protect him. Stiggs as well has those Mozzie drones for intel. Lusty going to use one of his exothermic charges actually to try and clear out Stiggs from this position. He will now need to fall back towards the cafeteria. Stiggs is draining though, he could be taken out. He's unaware that the wall got open. That could have been deadly, but FNATIC just not there to capitalize.
I'm a bit confused how he didn't realize he was moving his drone from garage as Lusty approached the wall. Lucky to be alive, but not to be. FNATIC taking some damage there and some engagement. Stiggs is still the only one low for Homeless. Half the round taken away now. FNATIC have managed to get that control of garage, but they've got a lot more work to do because it's not just a matter of taking garage. There's so much headway you have to make if you're going to try and take Archives. And if they can't really get any vertical control for it, it's going to be just heads-up gunfights. Lusty did see the shoulder of Stiggs just there, and if Stiggs peeks at all, he will lose his life considering his health. Pretty lucky to still be alive, and he takes a shot onto Lusty. Stiggs just toying with it at the moment.
I still don't know how Stiggs didn't get taken out before, never mind then, but either way, FNATIC once again feeling a little bit stalled out by the looks of things over towards Garage. We saw this previously where they had about 25 seconds to go for the plan, and then they didn't have time to re-attempt it. So they need to start kicking into gear here. Dino's got full intel as to where Magnet is, so he could be taken out very easily at the moment. Is that player over towards benches? No, that was the Jackal. That's Dino trying to protect that, but no, he'll be taken off the board. Good double push there by the FNATIC boys. Mentalist goes down Spiral now. Tries to pre-fire that angle, but won't get a pick. 30 seconds now, and FNATIC once again just taking a little bit of their time.
Yeah, and they have to commit to this now. The diffuser is down there, and Lustig was the one that dropped it, so diffuser is stuck in kitchen with only 20 seconds to go. There is no time for them to be able to do a rotate. Tex will find a frag onto Hayward leading into this final 20 seconds, which means it's a 3 versus 3. Similar HP, but still in favor of Homeless at this stage. Some pings coming out, which is going to be so vital for Mentalist as he takes the entry into Archives. Very much aware of where this other player is down here, but the diffuser isn't in a position to be planted as Tex does actually get it there. Mentalist can start to cover. It's a matter whether Homeless can get this denial. It doesn't look like it, so we'll be in post-plant now, guys.
Arlo and Strider need to clutch it up. We've seen both these players do it before, but they need to do it now and even out the half. Give themselves the best chance on their attack. Arlo gets one. That's Mentalist off the board. And now Tex, the newest member of this team, needs to try and clutch up. He gets one potentially. Yes, that'll be Arlo off the board, but he gets fragged out. Strider with a very nice kill there will be able to disable that diffuser, and Homeless will be heading into the half even.
They've had some really great retake attempts, and multiple of them are successful now, and so many close. So it's a really great play from Homeless there, just showing that they can keep their head cool in the really tense situations against a team like FNATIC. So great signs, and yeah, seeing the half 3-3, I think that really indicates how close the match is so far. It's looking a little bit scary for FNATIC, I've got to say. Maybe do you think the pressure's stacking up for them more so than Homeless now?
I feel like it's a little bit of that trope, that classic trope that we always talk about. Homeless don't really have a lot to lose. They're looking like a team that should relatively comfortably, you would think, sort of finish in the mid-range of the PL. But FNATIC, it's do or die for them. If they don't finish in the top 2, that is a major disappointment for them. And if they continue to lose maps or draw maps, especially against these lower seeded teams, and the teams around them end up beating them, man, that is going to be rough for them in the back end of the season. So look, the pressure probably is mounting a little bit, but we do know that FNATIC do have pretty good mental fortitude. We know they bounce back quite well, and they only get better when the map continues. So, still with FNATIC on this one, but Homeless are looking pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely you can't take anything away from Homeless. They've showed up so far, and they do only have 3 rounds. A couple of them could have been closer or potentially theirs, but either way, it is 3-3, and FNATIC will be on defense now, and it's definitely something that you can see a lot of comfort on for FNATIC. So it's another challenge completely for Homeless now with their attack phase. Looks like they will be contesting with a bit of soft breach, bringing the Ashe and the Zofia. Something that we didn't really see FNATIC bring was a second soft breacher dedicated. They really just had the Zofia for that.
And I guess Hayward, he's been getting a few kills here and there, so chucking him on a 3-speed is not the stupidest of decisions. I think that's a pretty smart one if he can frag out and help give his team more and more confidence. That's what they really need against FNATIC, and they've crumbled a little bit against him. So trying not to replicate that here, particularly on this first defense. This is where you really want to get that round up, really push your team forward for the rest of this half, and give yourselves the best chance of taking it.
Yeah, and there is a single roamer for FNATIC up on this upstairs there, but I think he just vaulted down statue. He did, so he has yeeted it back to site. Virtue looks like he is just going to play around pipes as well, so it looks like FNATIC is all on site, and if this is cleared quickly by Homeless, they'll have a bit of map control nice and early. It's just a matter of how efficient their journey can be. Lusty was the Mozzie, so maybe he's placed a lot of his pests upstairs just to make that room clear a whole lot harder.
Dino opens the hatch. He's in towards admin, trying to see if there's anyone over towards the Teller's stairs. Magnet is below them, but he's not really going to come into his line of sight as Hayward is droning that area out. Homeless taking their time here. Not as aggressive as we typically see them, but I think that them taking this methodically is probably the right approach against FNATIC.
Absolutely. I think it's the same situation as their defense. If they give up the early pick too soon, they're going to be too far on the back foot to have a really good solid chance. So I think it's good for them to take their time, just get the control they need, and allow FNATIC to make some mistakes.
Mentalist, he's holding the stairs. Smoke is a fantastic operator to achieve that, but Alec is holding the long angle, so he needs to be careful not to get overzealous, or his head will be taken off. Looks like he might be trying to gather intel by wide peeking, but instead he's actually going to ping above. Looks like Homeless trying to pressure them and clear them out of these common positions as Strider will get the wall open. Stiggs aided from above by getting those mute jammers off the board, and the wall now will be open for Homeless to go for the execute.
Yeah, this is going to help a lot. They got the wall open, but they haven't given themselves a whole lot of time, at least not comparatively to FNATIC's attacks. Got a minute to go, and I think there's still a mute jammer stopping that last one from being open. So that Buck is going to have to try and make light work of it, which he has, so that wall can finally go open. Giving themselves around 50 seconds now to clear out mostly Tex before they can really attempt to get the plant. They've still got some Evil Eyes to contend with that they have not potentially droned out yet.
C4s as well could prove deadly. Smoke grenades could be used. Also, Tex not going to use it for the plant denial, instead throw it above. That doesn't net him a kill, and that is now one less form of plant denial for FNATIC as Homeless set up for the execute. 30 seconds left on the board. Magnet has some nice bullet holes that he can use, but Arlo's trying to deny some of those cross angles from Yellow. He sees one player at the cafeteria door, lights him up, but doesn't get the kill, and Homeless are being stalled out. FNATIC so contented, just playing passive. Virtue gets taken out. Hayward gets one back, though, on the Ash. He's going for a back rush by the looks of things. Virtue will shut him down, though, and Strider's now forced to push in. Tries to get the kill over towards Cafeteria. Gets the down, but the Evil Eye will finish him off. As you mentioned, Raven, they just didn't deal with them. Now it's a 2v3. Homeless don't have the plan anywhere near in sight, and now Stiggs needs to try and clutch it up. He could potentially get it as Mentalist is now the last one left, but he gets taken out. Man, that was so much closer than I was expecting there at the end. The back flank from Homeless proving quite strong, but Mentalist, he just did Mentalist things and took him off the board.
Oh, that shot too. Nice flick from Mentalist. And yeah, look, it did come down to the wire, and I think if Homeless just had a touch quicker on their pace, we praised their patience and their thoroughness. Maybe if they were just a touch quicker, or maybe a little touch thorough. Those Evil Eyes really, it was kind of the doom of them in the end, because Strider did do a brave play to try and push and frag out that Jaeger, and he did down the Jaeger, which basically secured him a chance to plant if there was no Evil Eye there. But that Evil Eye really hindered them, and they had to just rush for frags. Still close, but FNATIC scraped away now, and Homeless is just going to have to try and keep in touch with them. But yeah, it was a close round, so it's not like FNATIC are really starting to storm ahead or anything at this stage, guys.
No, and that last round really felt like a half of a round rather of two halves. In the first half, Homeless were playing very slow for them, methodical, but they didn't take out any of the real plant and all that was there. I mean, Tex threw away a C4, but as you mentioned, the Evil Eyes, they were still there and played such a pivotal role. And then just like that, the switch flicked and Homeless played like Homeless. Yeah. They rushed from behind, got a couple picks, but it just wasn't quite enough. So look, they're not in the worst position. Split bomb site though, this could be very interesting. We saw Homeless defend it quite well, but will their attack match them?
Yeah, and that's the question you posed of FNATIC. You said that they like to hold this side, and that's what we're seeing. And you said maybe they know how to attack it well, seeing as they hold it. And turns out they didn't. They didn't win it either of the times they attempted it. So I have to see whether that holds true for Homeless as well. They got a lot of soft breach here to deal with the castles at least, so that's not really something that might slow them down a whole lot. They don't have to use that soft breach on pretty much anything else. Like, there's no Evil Eyes that they have to contend with this time, for example.
Homeless repelling over towards admin. Hayward might be entering that. Try and get a couple of early picks if necessary, but it looks like FNATIC are going to play quite heavily below. They have Magnet running the shotgun on Pulse. They'll be able to gain some really nice intel, and there we go. Homeless looking to try and take above. We didn't really see FNATIC go for this take as much as Homeless are already, so we could definitely see this round play out very differently to that FNATIC attack.
Yeah, I think the safe meta is more to try and take that garage control. So you really sandwich your opponent stuck on towards the east side, and then you can potentially add the vertical layer later. But I'm a big fan of this direct push towards the admin. I think that vertical control is so important, especially if you want to play an Intellers. But it's still not easy. That's the thing about this split bomb side, is you have to start to decide where exactly you want to plant, because there's a lot of things you have to deal with vertically to be ready for that. And at this stage, it's really only Virtue in this Teller's floor. The rest of FNATIC are really playing downstairs. Tex is the only one kind of flexing in between on the Visa stairs there.
I don't think FNATIC will be too phased. Magnet on the Pulse has that cardiac sensor still out, giving a lot of calls to his teammates. There is a pre-play C4 above as well. This could well and truly open up the round for FNATIC, as it's only halfway to go. Homeless still yet to walk over that, as they're still preparing for that above push. Hayward has control above, needs to be mindful he doesn't get taken out by this C4. So does Stiggs, who's also holding that position. Could be a close one here. Magnet playing very patiently, but they need to be careful not to overinvest here. Virtue gets one though, so that's Dino gone. I believe that was from below. Virtue getting very aggressive, tries to get another, doesn't quite get the kill in towards Printer. Could have got his head taken out, but he doesn't.
No, and they're very much aware of his position now, and he can be flushed out, so Virtue's going to have to be careful, and that is not what he is. Stiggs takes him out, giving it a 4 versus 4. Tex on the flank, though, upstairs, could prove very critical, like we saw Hayward's flank for Homeless. Just a matter of whether he has been spotted out or not. Stiggs could be a sitting duck here.
No flank watch on the board for Homeless. No Nomad, no Gridlock. Do they have the intel? Stiggs has heard someone, but he doesn't seem to have good intel, and he will be taken out. Tex with the flank as Strider attempts the plant. Hayward's trying to cover the stairs. Arlo as well at the bottom of Spiral gets one. That's Lusty off the board. He could have denied it, and the plant goes down. It's a 3-on-3 post plant. Arlo gets taken out as well. Tex gets 2 on the flank, and now it's up to Strider and Hayward to try and hold it out.
Yeah, not necessarily an easy spot to hold out, but it's amazing the plant went down. Magnet was still on the board with that intel. Speaking of, he gets that intel on Hayward. He's going to be able to spot out this last person and relay that to his teammates. As he does that, Mentalist closes it out. Really nicely retaken there by FNATIC. They will now get a 2-round buffer, guys. Again, a pretty close round. Homeless did get that plant down. FNATIC just really coming through clutch with their experience.
Great poise there from FNATIC to take the round, and when things started to turn against them, Tex standing up massively there. Got 2 very impactful kills on the flank, and despite that plant going down, as he mentioned, so much intel for Magnet to play with. No Thatcher to deny that either, so he was just left by his own devices, still below. No one contesting him whatsoever. He gave out the calls, FNATIC acted upon them, and now it's 5-3. Things starting to look a little more dire for Homeless.
Yeah, and it's again not for lack of them having some bad rounds. I think the 2 rounds that they've so far lost on their attack have been pretty good from them. So it's just a matter of them being able to close them out. They're going to have a chance to close it out now on lobby press room just to try and close the gap. FNATIC really bringing that Mute Mozzie combo again, that intel denial coming so strong when the Thatcher is off the board.
Talking about operators, Homeless haven't bought a flank watch once again. Possum last round, and man, this is actually something I was thinking about in week number 1. There were a couple of occasions, probably most notably with Derpe, I think in round number 1 in their game on that clubhouse. He was able to run up all the way up blue, almost hit a 3K and clutch the round because Homeless didn't have flank watch, didn't have drones watching it either. So it seems to be a continuing trend. If Homeless aren't going to be bringing that dedicated flank watch operator, at least set up a drone.
Yeah, and I mean, that's actually a common trap in itself, is like you can say, oh, we won't bring the Nomad because we want to bring this. We'll just make sure we set a drone up. That's one thing, but if no one's dead, who's watching the drone? Like, most people are usually actively doing something. So like, it's one thing to have the drone set up, it's another thing to actually have somebody watching it. So yeah, maybe that is the gap for Homeless there that FNATIC were able to abuse, and we'll have to see whether it happens again. A nice drone set up here from Strider though. He's going to get a lot of intel here on the B bomb side in lobby. Actually being able to help them set up a plant. Looks like there is quite the vertical roam happening here though, guys.
Could almost mistake it for an upstairs hole, but Dino, he takes Lusty off the board, so that will be Mute taken out. Going back to this upstairs hold though, it's looking very, very similar to how we would even see Console held. Magnet at the top of yellow, we've got Tex playing in that position we saw Sticks play commonly when that Homeless were defending this site. So it's going to be up to Homeless to use a lot of this utility to try and clear it out. Magnet rather picks up his shield, he'll be able to use that somewhere else as Sticks will drone it out. This could be a big, big time waster, and Homeless need to be mindful they don't get sucked in here.
Yeah, and there could be a gap in intel. FNATIC don't really have much for on-site besides the Yokais. So if Homeless are able to clear out the on-site Yokais, they will potentially have a chance to ignore the vertical roam, because FNATIC aren't going to be aware of exactly where the plant is, so those holes for denial might be just a little too slow for them to be able to use. But it looks like Homeless are going to try and hard clear this, and it's going to be a bit tricky there, but I say that, and Stiggs gets a nice frag onto Tex. Tex maybe a little too aggressive peeking that skylight, and this is a great start to the round from Homeless.
Magnet is trapped inside of bathroom as well. If they have a player dedicated to the rappel and the rest go for the plant, he's basically a dead man unless he pulls off a massive play. He's going to use the last of his smoke grenades in a last-ditched effort to try and get away, and he will. He crosses without Homeless taking him out. Does he know there's a player to his right, though? I think he does. He pulls out the shotgun. The drone hasn't spotted him, but the sound cue should be there. Arlo, meanwhile, drops Virtue, so now Magnet and Mentalist. 2 players that definitely have the ability to clutch it out, but do they have the intel? Magnet gets one, Mentalist gets another, and Homeless need to try and not throw this round. The diffuser's been dropped. They have a minute left on the board to try and recover it and try and get that plant down. But maybe FNATIC, maybe those Yokai drones will play a pivotal role in Homeless not being able to play this round how they want.
Absolutely. The IQ pick there is the big one that's standing out for me right now. The site has not really been touched by Homeless because they dedicated so much to the roam clear, which means the IQ has not scanned out those Yokais at all, and Mentalist, even if he is in a 1vx situation, still has 2 that he can use, and he's playing very comfortably right now, as is Magnet, getting another frag onto Arlo. 2 versus 2. HP advantage for Homeless right now, but I dare say the intel really favoring FNATIC at this stage.
Stiggs doesn't have any nades either, so that shield that Mentalist has placed at the bathroom door could be critical. Hayward doesn't have any breaching rounds either. Stiggs, though, he's going to try and attempt the plant. Mentalist has the intel and sees the player. He will deny it on its first occasion. Stiggs tries to shoot the drone. He will eventually get it on the second attempt, and now Mentalist will probably need to pick wide, but Magnet out of nowhere will deny it. Hayward drops the hatch and gets one. Can he get the second onto Mentalist? No! FNATIC will take the round. That's 3 straight for them, and Homeless just threw it away.
It's again another round that looked so promising for Homeless, but they just weren't able to secure it. Just the experience and the poise of FNATIC coming through. Mentalist again, he was so instrumental last night. So many clutched rounds, so many great plays, and again it's come out. The lack of scanning on side, or just the delay in that roam clear, really came back to bite Homeless. FNATIC just able to move around too much. Again, maybe no flank watch. Magnet was able to move upstairs, got a couple of picks on that, and even move into that lobby completely unnoticed to deny that plant. FNATIC now on match point, Guz. It's 3 rounds that Homeless have to be perfect on.
Yeah, in that last round, once Magnet got himself out of the bathroom, for me, Homeless should have just given up. Like, you don't know exactly where he is. You're head checking angles if you don't have intel, and it cost them. They had such a clear man advantage. They could have really assisted Stiggs in that plant. They could have just done a cheesy default double window plant. It wouldn't have been hard to take the Echo drone out. It wouldn't have been too difficult to cover him. But being in that 2v2 at the end made it so challenging for that one member to do so much at the end, and Hayward just fell short.
Yeah, I have to agree. They really could have just cut the rotate. If Magnet still had yellow stairs in a 2v5 situation, let him have it. Like, they could just go get that lobby control, like you said. They could have secured the plant down. They would have been able to spot the yokais out with the IQ. They would have had all the time to clear the yokais, as well as set up rotates. They could have had a player and statue, cut the rotate around the zigzag hallway. A lot of situations, or a lot of things they could have done to help that situation, but it is what it is here. Homeless are facing a 3-round deficit now on map 1, which is Consulate, and FNATIC match point. They are 1 round away from winning this first one and getting another 3 points for themselves in Pro League.
I don't think Homeless can beat themselves up too much. They've played quite well. These rounds, particularly in the second half, have been super close. Either way in most cases. So look, the scoreline, probably not completely indicative of how well Homeless are playing. I just feel like maybe they don't quite have that polish that FNATIC have. We know that FNATIC they have the experience. All of their players have the experience, whereas Homeless, they're fresh from Challenger League. They don't quite have this high-level experience. Magnet gets Hayward, so that's a top fragger for Homeless taken out. Not looking good, and man, that could spell the end here for map number 1.
Yeah, definitely not a great start for them to this round. As Lusty gets another. Maybe Homeless trying to be a little too aggressive. Trying something a bit different here. Lusty is tagged up as he tries to peek out and get another, but a huge advantage for 2 minutes to go for Homeless on this round. Look, they've clutched out a few. Magnet gets another, though. It's going to be a 2 versus 5 for Arlo and Strider to have to deal with. Really lacking a bit of intel as these mute jammers are causing a lot of hell. And it's going to be really tricky for them to be able to pull anything out at this stage, guys. I definitely don't see it coming back.
Strider does get the wall open. Magnet's found himself in a sneaky position, though, and could take him out if the intel is lacking. And considering there's 2 on the board, it probably will. Arlo, though, he gets Mentalist. Maybe we'll see Homeless clutch this one up. FNATIC have looked poised for the majority of this map, but it only takes a couple of slip-ups and Homeless could be right back in it. I don't think Strider stole the legs there of Magnet. He mustn't have. I don't know if they're in view, but either way, Magnet's found himself in a very nice spot. There we go. Arlo's off the board, leaving it in a 4-on-1. Can Strider clutch it up?
Strider is going to have to turn full clutch god right here. FNATIC maybe peeking a little too aggressive. They don't want to have to throw it away. That revive is going to come out, but 3 of them have been tagged quite heavy, and it is Strider using the 5.56 XI of Thermite. That's a beast of a gun. He can get some frags, but he's not going to actually find any guards. FNATIC do secure that first map. 7-3 in the end.
A flawless second half there on the defense for FNATIC. Their experience prevails, and Homeless will go home empty-handed on map number 1. A fair contest, a good contest, but FNATIC just edging out on top, despite that scoreline looking like FNATIC smashed them.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we look at some positives for Homeless. I think majority of those rounds, 80% of those rounds, they played really well in. It was a great contest, really close, but they just weren't able to close out so many of those rounds. FNATIC just capitalizing on the small mistakes, just the little things. As Rob said last night, it's the 1%ers, the minor details that really turned that match for FNATIC. And yeah, they were just a bit too tight on defense.
Homeless, not with the best performance there in map number 1.